Welcome to Reds Focus LFC fans. Today
Liverpool transfer drama is heating up. A new signing is close, a Marc Guehi hijack is emerging, and Arne Slot faces huge January decisions. Don't miss the latest Liverpool news. Subscribe now for daily LFC updates. Liverpool transfer news. Arne Slot finally closing in on transfer as Marc Guehi hijack emerges. Liverpool are facing a crucial period in their season, with the January transfer window posing the perfect opportunity to add reinforcements to Arne Slot's injury-hit squad. Liverpool are 9 unbeaten in all competitions and sit 3 points clear in the Champions League places, but for head coach Arne Slot, the pressure remains, with intense scrutiny surrounding his squad. Despite the recent upturn in results, following a poor few months that derailed their Premier League title defense, performances haven't been satisfactory, leading to fresh calls for a managerial change, as well as questions for the club's hierarchy to answer. Liverpool take on Arsenal on Thursday, with the Gunners edging closer to snatching back their place at the summit of English football. The Reds are in need for reinforcements, with depleted options at the back, while record-signing Alexander Isak recovers from a leg fracture and Ugo Ekitike's fitness is managed. Liverpool have had a long-standing interest in Marc Guehi and failed in their deadline day efforts to sign the Crystal Palace defender in August after the plug was pulled. The England international is out of contract in the summer, with clubs beginning to circle, including Slot's top-flight rivals. Mirror Football takes a look at the biggest stories regarding the Reds. City threatened Guehi transfer hijack. BBC Sport have reported that City are exploring a move for Guehi, following a double injury blow for Pep Guardiola's side. Josko Guardiola and Ruben Dias are set for a period on the sidelines after picking up issues during the 1-1 draw against Chelsea. It has sparked interest in the 25-year-old that has now progressed with a January move possible. City have recalled Max Alline from a loan spell with Wolves, and the academy defender could be included in the squad to face Brighton on Wednesday. European juggernauts are also interested, according to the report, with Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Atletico Madrid mooted. Liverpool have a strong interest in Guehi, but it remains to be seen if they will be forced to bring forward their plans, following claims that they will wait until the summer. Liverpool close in on a signing. Liverpool are closing in on their first deal of the January window, with the Liverpool Echo's Paul Gorst reporting that the Reds are set to sign Morn Di. Slot's side is adding reinforcements to their backline, but with gems of the future as they target the left-sided center-back who featured at the U17 World Cup for Senegal. The move would see Di link up with the under-21 squad, currently managed by former Wales head coach Rob Page. As a result of the deal, Amara Nallo would be expected to leave on loan. Nallo has endured 2 unfortunate appearances for the Reds. The central defender was sent off within minutes of coming on for his debut against PSV Eindhoven for a last-man challenge in the Champions League last season. He had a similar fate against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup defeat, when he was shown a straight red card in the latter stages for a trip on Justin Devaney.
Liverpool sent brutal bang-average warning before Arsenal game. Liverpool heads to Arsenal in the Premier League later this week, trailing the Gunners by 14 points in the standings, with its hopes of retaining the title long gone. Liverpool beat Arsenal at Anfield earlier this season, with Dominik Szoboszlai's superb free kick settling the fixture in August, but few are predicting a similar result for Arne Slot's men this week. With a 14-point gap between the sides having opened up following a dire run of results for Liverpool, Mikel Arteta's team is very much the favorite heading into this clash. The Gunners have a 6-point cushion over Manchester City in second. Liverpool badly missed Ugo Ekitike in their draw against Fulham and put in another lackluster display, Chris Sutton told BBC Sport. Arne Slot's side are 9 games unbeaten now, so their recent results have been all right on paper. It's their performances that are the problem, though. When you see them with your own eyes, they are miles off where they were when they won the title last season, and are nowhere near where Arsenal are at now either. When Liverpool beat them at Anfield in August, Gunners boss Mikel Arteta was criticized for being too cautious, as he often is in big games like this. It has to be different this time. This Liverpool team has been leaking goals all season, so Gunners fans are not going to accept Arteta sitting back.
I doubt Arteta will do it this time because Arsenal are at home and Liverpool are there for the taking. In fact, there should be zero negativity in the way they are set up. Manchester City have dropped points twice in the past few days, so Arsenal are 6 points clear. It's just over 6 years since Arteta took charge, and this is not the time for him to be cautious. The Gunners should go for it because they are on a different level to Liverpool, and they may as well be in a different league. Liverpool has had a number of key men missing at various points in the season. Alexander Isak is out for the long term, while Mohamed Salah is currently at AFCON. Ekitike faces a race against time to return here. No one thinks Slot's side are going to win the Premier League anymore, even though they are 4th, and they don't look capable of flexing their muscles and going on a long winning run either, Sutton continued. That is not going to happen. This is a bang-average Liverpool team this season, and Arsenal should be able to exploit all of their weaknesses. It should be pretty comfortable for the league leaders, too. They are carrying Victor Gyökeres a bit, because he is just not fired for them up front, but it does not seem to matter. They are winning anyway. Declan Rice is just majestic in the middle of the park. He is just phenomenal, and they have got lots of different ways of scoring goals. Liverpool.com says, Virgil van Dijk said earlier this week that his team would have to fight against Arsenal, and that is very true. Set pieces have been a worry this season, and there is no one better at them.
Liverpool need to spend in January, but I want to see Arne Slot pick underused player more. John Aldridge urges Liverpool to sign new players in January and looks ahead to Arsenal away in the second half of his weekly Echo column. Liverpool were crying out for pace in the first half against Fulham. Jeremy Frimpong is the only one who offers it. He stretches defenses and causes problems. I thought he should have come on at halftime. He's done well in the last couple of games, and that's 3 assists for him now. But we're still too predictable, far too predictable. It was comfortable for Fulham. We needed to push them back and not make it easy for them to defend against. We play in front of teams too much. I want to see us get in behind more, make those runs, and cause teams problems. We need more players willing to make runs like Frimpong. Maybe it's something that can be addressed now the transfer window is open. We need to play balls in behind more and push teams back. We don't do that enough. We've got no space to play in. It's just so static. We're too predictable and easy to play against. Rino Nagumaha is one of those players. If you bring him on for 15 minutes, teams don't know how to play against him. What he does, no one knows. He probably doesn't even know. He's unpredictable. He has pace and trickery and can hurt teams. Gerrard, Rooney, Owen, Fowler, they all played at that age. Maybe Arne is trying to protect him by using him sparingly. We've not seen much of him this season, but if you're good enough, you're old enough. I would like to see him used more. We've had injuries, and with no Hugo Ekitike against Fulham, we lacked options in attack. We have to get on with it, though. Cody Gakpo did okay up front, and he can play there, but it's not ideal. The midfield is okay, the defense is okay, we have quality in the starting 11. Wirtz can go up front if needed. It's only the bench where we're short. Slot has got to manage the squad. If we can, the owners have to get a player or two in. I don't think they will sign anyone, though. I'd have Harvey Elliott back. I've said it before. We're short of bodies, and he'd make a difference if he was back in our squad. He's an impact player, a game changer. I'm not sure if we can sign someone if the owners will want to splash the cash, but bringing Elliott back would at least add something. I've said before I want us to sign someone to add something else to the squad, but it doesn't look likely. That could prove costly, though, especially at center back. If we lost Joe Gomez to another injury, we could be in real trouble at the back. We don't actually have that many out at the moment, but we're still looking short. It just reiterates we need to do something in January if possible. Missing out on top 4 doesn't bear thinking about. We're not going to win the league. It pains me to say it, but that ship has long since sailed. It's between Man City and Arsenal, though it would be nice if Aston Villa won it. For us, the aim is Champions League qualification.
4th place, solidify that. We have to do that. To end up in the Europa League or Conference doesn't bear thinking about and could be really costly. We'll always attract the best players because we're Liverpool Football Club, but we still need to be in the Champions League to get the very best players ahead of our rivals in the summer. We got Wirtz and Isak last summer as champions. We won't have that same tag next year. It would be great if we had something to show from the season, though, be that a run in the Champions League or even the FA Cup. It's something to play for. A trophy is a trophy. But we have to improve. Arsenal away could be a long night. Arsenal will be tough on Thursday. We have to defend like we haven't for a long time and keep them at bay. They're flying. If they get an early goal, we could be in for a very long night. Every game you've got to give the same, whether it's Arsenal or Wolves. It'll bring the best out of you because they're likely champions. We have to go there and show what we can do. They know how good we can be. We know how good we can be. So go out there and show it. Fulham played like teams do at Anfield. They sat deep and frustrated us. Arsenal won't do that, not in front of their own fans. Arsenal won't sit back, so we have to show what we're capable of doing. We'll have more space going forward, so we have to make the most of it. There will be more room to attack. When there are opportunities, we have to take them. It will be the most difficult game of the season. All Liverpool fans will tell you the same. They're anxious about this one because of the way we've been playing. But while it could be a long night if it goes against us, it could also be the type of game that unlocks more from us. Who knows? Maybe it could be the game to actually get us back in form.
Arne Slot told to use unpredictable solution to inject life into struggling Liverpool attack. Liverpool has steadied the ship in recent weeks, but its attack is not firing. Alexander Isak and Mohamed Salah being out hasn't helped, but Arne Slot needs more dynamism. Liverpool has turned the tide to an extent in terms of a poor run of results, but there is more work to be done by Arne Slot in the coming weeks after successive draws. Leeds United and then Fulham found a way of earning a point against Liverpool, and on both occasions, the Reds couldn't really argue with the outcome. While Slot's side has stopped losing, it very much looks like a top 4 team rather than a title contender in its inconsistency. We're too predictable and easy to play against, Reds legend John Aldridge wrote in his Liverpool Echo column. Rio Nagumo is one of those players. If you bring him on for 15 minutes, teams don't know how to play against him. What he does, no one knows. He probably doesn't even know. He's unpredictable. He has pace and trickery and can hurt teams. Gerrard, Rooney, Owen, Fowler, they all played at that age. Maybe Arne is trying to protect him by using him sparingly. We've not seen much of him this season, but if you're good enough, you're old enough. I would like to see him used more. Ngumo has come on in games this season, but he hasn't been used much from the start. Having only turned 17 in the summer, he is being carefully managed. The upcoming FA Cup tie at home to Barnsley is likely to be a chance for Ngumo to start and get some sustained minutes, alongside the likes of Train Nyoni, another young talent who hasn't featured much. But in terms of the more important fixtures, where there is more pressure to perform, Ngumo is likely to have to get used to having only cameos here and there. I think he has the most minutes of all 17-year-olds in the Premier League, so that tells you how much playing time he gets, how special that already is for a 17-year-old, Slot said last month. That also tells you something about his quality, because it's not completely normal for a 17-year-old already to have as much playing time as he had. But it also tells you something about the availability in those areas. For the weekend, against Wolves, which ended up being a 2-1 win, that position's not my biggest concern, I would say. So hopefully Cody is back. Not sure, but hopefully. Federico can play there. Florian can play there. So if he would be a player in a different position, he would probably have even more chance to come in. But it's the same for the other players. I think in the game against Tottenham, I had 4 under-21 players on the bench, so that increases the chance for him to come in as well. So let's see.
Liverpool.com says Ngumo probably shouldn't be starting every week, and he needs to be carefully managed. Perhaps he could get 20 minutes here and there rather than 5, though. There is a tricky balance to be struck.
What happened to Liverpool's Mentality Monsters title? Under Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool developed a reputation for being mentality monsters, always capable of staying in games and holding on to results. That reputation outlasted Klopp at Liverpool, and the Reds maintained their status as mentality giants, winning the league with Arne Slot at the first time of asking. This season, that moniker is no longer fitting. The Reds have been handed a number of heartbreaking last-minute blows and have faced heavy defeats to the likes of Nottingham Forest and PSV Eindhoven. Liverpool look like a team in trouble, leaving many supporters questioning what has gone wrong. Are Liverpool still mentality monsters? The Reds started the season well, winning incredibly close matches in the dying moments, but that hasn't continued. Sunday's 2-2 draw with Fulham marked the 4th time this season that Slot's side have conceded at added time to drop points. Leeds scored an equalizer in the 96th minute at the start of December, and both Chelsea and Crystal Palace scored injury time winners against Liverpool. All 4 of these results came away from home, but Anfield is no longer the fortress it used to be either. Supporters are no longer confident when Liverpool are leading a game late on, and that is a problem. Why has Liverpool's mentality dropped off? There has been a dip in the Reds' overall form this season too. Their Premier League title defense is already over, and that isn't just down to conceding late goals. The considerable turnover of playing staff over the summer may not have helped matters either, with 7 new players arriving and 9 first-team regulars leaving. The tragic passing of Diogo Jota over the summer will also no doubt still be affecting the Liverpool team. The Reds' mentality has taken a knock this year, and the team are not playing like champions, but there is still plenty to play for if Slot can turn things around. A top 4 finish alongside a Champions League win would go down as a very successful season in Merseyside, but Liverpool must become mentality monsters once again in order to achieve success. Premier League clubs' transfer budgets after £3 billion spent on new recruits. The January transfer window is underway, and Premier League clubs will be looking for new signings. Premier League clubs are busy searching for opportunistic deals as the January transfer window heats up. The top-flight sides will be looking to add to their squads just months after a record-breaking summer saw the league spend an eye-watering £3 billion on new players. While clubs prioritize the summer to bring in major recruits, January provides a chance to start rebuilding earlier. Manchester City accounted for almost half of the Premier League's £370 million spend last winter, as Pep Guardiola set about freshening up his squad. A club's transfer budget does not solely depend on the wealth of their owners, but also on ensuring compliance with profit and sustainability rules, PSR. Additionally, teams aiming to qualify for European competition must consider UEFA's squad cost ratio, SCR. PSR limits losses to £105 million over a 3-year period, which is lowered by £22 million for every year a club is outside the Premier League. Meanwhile, SCR allows clubs to spend up to 70% of their revenue on squad-related costs. Despite having to contend with the financial rules, the January window provides teams with an opportunity to strengthen for the short and long term. Manchester City are reportedly closing in on a deal for Bournemouth's Antoine Semenyo, who has a £65 million release clause, as Guardiola's side attempt to catch league leaders Arsenal, following on from their busy January window last year. The Gunners spent heavily in the summer to provide Mikel Arteta with a level of squad depth that could finally see the club clinch the title. Arsenal spent around £250 million on new recruits in the previous window, but could still spend another £100 million if required this month, according to football finance expert Kieran Maguire. We haven't seen their financial results for this year yet, but they will have a lot of headroom from a PSR point of view, Maguire told Mirror Football. Arsenal have got plenty of wiggle room in January. Yes, they signed players in the summer, but even so, compared to some of the other clubs, it wasn't excessive.
He added, "So if Arsenal wanted to spend, they could spend far in excess of £100 million. I think the issue is whether players are available who are not cup-tied from a Champions League point of view." Arsenal are very strong financially. Their losses in the last couple of years were £70 million, and under the Premier League rules, you're allowed to lose £105 million. So again, they have got plenty of headroom. A very smart club. Not all clubs will be able to match Arsenal's January budget. Aston Villa, sitting third in the table, have previously made smart signings in the new year under Unai Emery, a list that includes Morgan Rogers, Hon Duran, and Marcus Rashford, and have welcomed young winger Alisson from Gremio. However, as demonstrated by their quiet summer, Villa will be wary of complying with financial rules rather than spending big to mount a title challenge. Manchester United may not be enjoying the same type of success as Villa, but the Red Devils still have the capacity to bolster their squad this month. Despite sacking Ruben Amorim earlier this week and having no European football, United could potentially spend £100 million on new signings. Again, from an SCR point of view, which is the new rules which are kicking in, United are spending around half their revenue on wages, so they've got huge capacity. It's then a case of, can they spend the money? Well, yes, they've got a lot of debt, but they're still well within their overdraft limit. What Manchester United tend to do is to buy players on credit, so they owe £466 million in outstanding transfer fees for players that they've signed in the past. I think that's more of an issue for the summer of 2026 rather than January. If they spend £100 million in January, they'll be spreading that over 3 or 4 years, so from a cash point of view, it's not really going to make a difference. If that's the difference between Champions League and not Champions League, they've got to go for it if it's going to improve the squad. Liverpool were the biggest spenders in the last transfer window, spending more than £100 million each on Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak during an expensive summer. The Reds have fallen below expectations so far this season, but could still turn to the transfer market to help rescue the current campaign. Liverpool have got the benefit of, yes, they had a spectacular summer of 2025, but if you take a look at their losses in the 2 previous years, they were never in danger of breaching PSR, Maguire said. However, the reigning Premier League champions have the added dilemma of dealing with Mohamed Salah's future. The star forward has 18 months remaining on his contract, but had been outspoken about losing his place in the team shortly before representing Egypt at the Africa Cup of Nations. On Salah's situation, Maguire added, "Well, his wages are probably going to be something like £15 million a year, so if he left, he would free up the wage budget. On top of that, because he's been there so long, effectively any money that they get is pure profit, and that goes into your top line." Chelsea appear unlikely to make any major signings as they close in on a replacement for manager Enzo Maresca. However, both Newcastle and Tottenham reportedly have healthy transfer budgets this month, while Bournemouth and Brighton are also in the market for new players. At the other end of the table, Burnley will be looking to add to their squad to help in their fight against relegation. Meanwhile, Nottingham Forest and West Ham will be searching for new signings as they aim to move away from the drop zone, having already brought in a new striker.